And I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in our country, what I am feeling about what we can do to unify and to feel empowered because it's really important that we have a feeling that we have each other's backs. So I made a pact with myself that I would not talk about the Super Bowl, but I am going to talk about an aspect of it that I think we really would benefit from considering, taking into consideration. I've heard here and there, because I'm in Massachusetts and the Patriots are playing in the Super Bowl in about an hour. And I've heard here and there, people saying this, I hate the Patriots. So I'm not going to get into a conversation about that. What I'm going to address right now is whether that's necessary. There are lots of places in our society right now that we can refrain from inserting negativity when it's really easy to refrain from inserting negativity, I think. And it's not just because it's the team that's from this area. It's not just because of that. I think that from my perspective, and I'm guilty of it too, that we miss out on opportunities to extend a hand and to say, hey, I hope your team wins or hope you do well, because this insidious thing has happened. And it's part of human nature, but this insidious thing has happened where we forget that we're all Americans, right? Or we forget. I think we forget. Do you? I think sometimes we get into this thing where, and I'm going to call out Joy Reid because I heard this out of Joy Reid's mouth. Somebody was a few days ago was mentioning the Super Bowl, and she's like, "Oh, I don't really follow football. Maybe she'll see my video and we can have a chat." I'd be fine with that. Oh, and it was just, oh, who's playing? Oh, I don't even know who's playing. Oh, the Patriots. I hate the Patriots. And she said it with like passion, right? And this isn't personal to me, but I just really stepped back and I was like, why do we need that? What did that team ever do to you? And it's kind of happened on my channel, which is why I said I'm going to shut down the conversation about who's playing in the Super Bowl and who I want to win. We're in such a precarious place in the United States because we're being really asked to step up in places that we might be unconscious about needing to step up. We might just not think about it. I feel that these times really require for us to be way showers of, and hopefully that this is that. Way showers for we don't need to just automatically not like somebody or something without knowing what they're all about. Do you know what I mean? And I know I'm going to just sort of change this direction of this conversation that I'm having with you, even though it's kind of just one way, but feel free to put in your 2 cents. When we think about MAGA, it's really hard for most people to look at people that are caught up in cult mind control and to not feel something like hatred welling up, because it's really infuriating when somebody's having belief systems that are completely destructive and that feel like they're out of left field and you don't know what happened to them. It's normal for us to get upset. If we're going to have unity in this country, however, I think a better approach, rather than being all upset and go into auto hate, which is what I call, hating the Patriots. It's like, I have my Patriots beer glass here from Super Bowl 53. this class reminds me of my dad, who's no longer with us. So when people say nasty things like that, I mean, I I know I'm all over the place a little bit, but when people say nasty things about teams, they don't think about people whose like family memories are steeped in following that team, right? When the Red Sox hadn't won in 100 years since the time of Babe Ruth, and finally we reversed the curse somehow. You know, the witches of Salem, we reversed the curse. There were people that were going. Lots of people went to their grandfathers or their father's gravestone and put a Red Sox flag there. So here there are opportunities for us to feel like, you know, we're sensitive to what each other, you know, has as their identity or background. Now, I'm going to talk about MAGA right now. There are things that we completely disagree with because it's a cult. If you read The Cult of Trump, you'll know it's a cult. And there are things that we vehemently disagree with. And so it takes a little extra effort to have a sense that that person who's followed MAGA for all these years, and maybe QAnon, has something that's in common with me. And that something is just that we're both human beings trying to get by on the planet, right? And we have to find those things. I really do feel like we have to find those things. Let's not go into unnecessary, you know, feeling like it's us versus them. And I'm bringing this up because it's important. I really feel that it's important. And I think myself and, you know, whomever chooses to join me would do well to give it a little more thought before we decide to just say, I hate you, or I hate your team, or I hate this, or I hate that. I hate MAGA. You know, like, okay, let's dissect that. I hate MAGA. I hate MAGA. Okay, well, let's just dissect that. Maybe really we're not hating that person who's got led astray, decided to go down the road of let's be violent and racist and all that, right? I mean, because not all people that are MAGA were necessarily racist, but the guy that they follow certainly was. Finding common ground means, okay, you're an American, I'm an American, you have different beliefs than I do, and let's just leave it there. My team is in the Super Bowl. My football team's in the Super Bowl, and you're not into that team, and that's fine. Let's just leave it there, right? Am I making sense? I just want us to work a little bit more on that from what I see out there. That's my wish. My wish is that we all, as Americans, to the best of our ability, recognize that we've been hypnotized into thinking it's us versus them. And in something as innocuous as a football game, it creeps in. Little hints of it creep in. I do remember a day when a game was a game. And I do remember a day when politics was just kind of like politics and it was a little boring, right? But we didn't get into all this vitriolic stuff, which is just largely a result of social media, which I'm on right now to talk to you. But social media and technology done right can be an amazing thing. So in our country right now, we are seeing people being vilified that there's no reason for them to be vilified. And I think about the athletes at the Olympics right now, these young, gifted, talented athletes that, of course, they're being asked by an interviewer and their press conferences there about how you feel about the United States right now. I mean, it's like the big elephant in the room. The United States of America had the identity and still does. I mean, if we really want to look at it, it hasn't been that long in terms of him having phase 2 of the illicit presidency. So Of course, it's a big topic. And then we had J.D. Vance took his motorcade through the narrow streets of Milan. Believe me, we have streets like that here too. It's not easy to navigate through, and that had that was going on, or it was about to go on. And the ignorance, and these athletes are having to represent the United States, and there's JD, and he's at his motorcade, and he made an Olympic skater, her last name is Lou, almost miss her competition. So these athletes are like being asked questions about, how is it to be an American? And one was very honest. I don't know if I'm sure he hadn't heard about that incident. I feel certain he hadn't heard about it. But he shared his authentic, genuine thoughts. I wear the flag and I feel like, kind of mixed feelings. I'm just saying the sentiment of what he was saying. I feel kind of mixed about, being here representing America. And it's completely understandable. And he got torn apart by Donald Trump. Our common ground with one another right now is that there's not one of us that wants to bear witness to people having cruelty and violence thrown at them. There's not one of us that want to see children having their parents ripped away from them for no reason, or children being thrown in detention camps. None of us want to see that. And I feel like if we practice a little bit more, I really do think we have to practice a little bit more. Just taking a step back when we feel like we want to decide that they're different from us, and say, we're in a time right now where we've got to really prove that we feel united. Like, we have to kind of like demonstrate we feel united. Right? And that Olympic athlete, I think it was a skier, but they were all saying they don't like what's going on in the United States. And then the person who's illegitimately occupying the seat in the Oval Office, I just have to say it that way because that's Kamala won, as my mug says. Bashing him, then that just perpetuates the divisiveness, right? And so if we can stand more for, no matter what, we're going to find common ground. We're going to get our goal. And what is our goal, everybody? Class? What is our goal? Unity. I mentioned earlier on a video that I made that I keep coming across that word. Unity. Unity. Our common ground is unity. So let's find it. Let's look for it. Let's make it like a treasure hunt. Where can we find unity? And if we don't see it, we can create it. It's important that we rise up and support those athletes, those Olympic athletes, that while they're there, that I'm sure they all heard about the JD stunt. That this skater actually got stuck in the traffic because of his buffoonness, his absolute clueless. It's all about me. Look, I'm so important. I'm so important. I'm JD. I'm going to be president, he thinks. And so the athletes there have to go for, what they truly believe, and to say what they truly believe and what they truly feel. And then the orange monster lashes out. So where we have common ground, we got to have everyone else's backs, right? We do. We have to have each other's backs. So maybe we'll get T-shirts saying, I support the Winter Olympic athletes, or bumper stickers or pins or something. Some sentiment that we support the complete, like, the complete ideal, the complete knowing. We support the complete knowing. Thank you, Warren. That hatred and stochastic terrorism and being in the position of president, and behaving in that manner and sicking thugs with masks on the American people to assault them and haul them away and disappear them and terrorize them. We are all united and that's not okay. And we're not going to make it okay through our silence. For that to continue unchecked. It's not okay. And I started out talking about it's not okay to say you hate the Patriots to somebody who's in New England right now, less than an hour before kickoff of the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm making light of it, but I really hope that I'm getting my point across. Other times maybe it's okay, but it's really unnecessary. It's wholly unnecessary. We can all. I'm saying we. I'm not preaching to you. We can all do a little better at making a conscious effort, at realizing that some things we just do out of habit. And now I really do feel that we're being asked in the sense that we know what it takes. We know what it takes to heal this nation. The United States of America became the divided states of America. And it was an opportunistic infection when Dumpy came along. We all know that I call him that. When he came along and he decided to go for the jugular of the divisiveness that's always been here because it's a part of the human condition. And it's the racism and bigotry is America's original sin. And so he decided to go for that. So in the face of divide, right, for the past 10 years, divide, lie, divide. We really should be proud to be holding the space for the opposite of that. We can be proud of that. It like kindness is contagious. And my sign here says kindness changes everything. Kindness is contagious. Just like courage is contagious. It's so, so important. There was a while back, there was this thing that people did where they were like helping others. They were paying it forward. If you were going through a toll, maybe it was $1, and the person in front of you would just pay for your toll. Like, I forget, it was random acts of kindness. We need that right now. We need something like that right now. So, as the evil gets more evil and more exposed, it's going to get tough out there. It really is. It's going to get tough out there. Because the more that they get angry that they're exposed, the more dangerous they'll get. Let's just be real. Ultimately, they won't win. There's hundreds of millions, really, there's probably 200 million more of us than them, I would guesstimate. And what's happening now is we are finding common ground because even the people that voted for him 3 times can't align with what he's doing to human beings. So we have an opportunity here because when we are unified, it's just we're so, so, so much more powerful. And just to mention the football game, that's an opportunity for us to come together. It's an American holiday. It's 60 years this year. It's turned into an American holiday, and there's like too many commercials and too much money put into it, and too much. It's like a too much bowl. But what's happening, and we can kick back, and we've been needing a little hiatus from the drama and the trauma of the news, and for just one evening, we get to just kind of take a step back and remember we're all Americans enjoying a game. Like the rest of the world, they love the World Cup, right? It's a big deal. And the rest of the world watches the Super Bowl too. Just like some of us that are into soccer watch the World Cup. I don't know the first thing about soccer, but because I was born and raised here. I do know that we'll get there. I do know the rallies and the protests are definitely strengthening our unity. I do know that. I want you all to know that. And thank you for showing up. This is my new Substack Live. I want you all to know that I see it happening. I see like it's an amazing thing. People uniting. People looking past their little differences and saying, we all we want America. We love our country. We want America. We want American democracy. We let things slide and we're sorry. We won't be doing that again. But we don't want to be North Korea and remember, it's Valentine's Day week. And we remember how Trump was always bragging about how he loves Kim Jong-un. And they were writing love letters back and forth, which is really creepy and gross if you ask me. I did write a Substack article a while back, it might have been over a year ago, about what it's like to live in North Korea. They have concentration camps. They have work camps. And this regime is currently, as we speak, building concentration camps and work camps. And if you ever get an opportunity to watch, Morgan Freeman has a special, it's a documentary. He has several. And one is called This Is Us. And that's when I did mention that in that article. I'll dig it up and restack it. There was a person who was born in a work camp in North Korea who somehow had escaped. And it's a remarkable story. Like, how did you escape? And somehow he just, like, nobody escapes from North Korea. They're all in work camps. This is what Trump wants here. So nobody can argue me and say that that's not what he wants. It's definitely what he wants. Why would they be building concentration camps? Why would people be in detention centers right now? We have to think about these things. We can't just block it. What really unites us is our common desire to make sure we're going to be okay. Yeah, it's absolutely what he wants, right, Kathy? Because that's what he's doing. The amount of billions of dollars, I think it's $72 billion. And I mentioned yesterday or the day before, you can't imagine really how much $1 billion is. I haven't looked it up. But I think it's probably that if you put dollars end to end, it'd go from here to the moon many times, the string of dollars, right? And it's like 72 or $75 billion for a special military force to terrorize us and to throw us in concentration camps. Okay, now this is why I started with, I can't believe people are hating me because the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. I'm kidding. I don't think they hate me personally, but that's why I started with that. It's like, this is not the time for any kind of hatred anywhere where it's not necessary. Well, it's not necessary to hate anyway. We hate what's happening to this country. But I just really want us, one of my most fervent wishes is I really want to see us all being more sensitive to the time that we're in. I know how hard it can be when we're not really in the America that we used to be in, and how hard it can be to really make that switch in our minds We're still a democracy. We still have people in Congress. We're still having elections. The Democrats are winning. This is a different America right now. It's a really different America. And so we're acting as if, okay, we're having the Super Bowl because that's it's all American, right? We're doing the all American things, but we can't be doing them like with a numbness. Like, you know, I walked in several 4th of July parades the past 3-4 years. And I got to see that, people had a problem with me being patriotic in a 4th of July parade because the awareness of what 4th of July is all about was so washed out. It was so diluted that people forgot that we were celebrating our independence from the king. So it's going to take a little while, I think, but we need to kind of catch up. Yes, we're having our all-American celebrations, but let's not lose the theme. And I swear I'm going to write a new song called Proud to Be an American so we can be proud to be Americans and not think of that stupid song anymore. From the talentless Lee Greenwood. I used to live in Nashville. So, go Pats. I had to say it. If you don't have any questions or anything that you want to express, I'm going to say goodnight for now. And thank you for joining me. And let's go watch the game and may the best team win. All right. Let's unite. Let's put the United back in the United States of America. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you very soon. And I like to say, namaste. Be good. See you.